Here's a quick lesson on a pretty popular editing technique. It's called selective color. What you'll do is you'll take a picture like this with some color in it, and then you will turn it into an image where everything is black and white except one thing or several things of your choosing. Here I have the woman's red sari staying red while everything else has gone black and white. So question is, how do you do that? It's pretty simple. What you're going to do is make a black and white adjustment using an adjustment layer, and then you'll use your paintbrush to carefully hide the black and white effect from whatever it is that you've decided should remain color. The way you do that is to go to your adjustments panel, and in the center, here I am up here in the top right, in the center you've got a black and white adjustment layer. And when you do that, everything goes black and white, and the extent of the edit is marked by this white rectangle right here. That's the layer mask. If I hold Alt and click on the layer mask, it shows the layer mask in its full size. White doesn't mean white, it just means that the effect of black and white will appear everywhere it's black. So if I get my paintbrush and I choose a black color here and I begin painting, what will happen is everywhere I paint black is going to hide the black and white layer. I'll click on the layer mask thumbnail to show you. So it looks like that. Now that's the black again. It doesn't actually appear on the image. The black just means it's like a hole in the effect so that the original picture is shining through. That's kind of a sloppy paint job. I'll go some more places and you can see the color return. You can also look over here and you can see what that looks like in the thumbnail. Usually when you just look in this small view, you can see everything that you need to see. However, if it's got a detail that's awfully small, then if you hold the Alt key and click on that, then it shows it full size. Now, the way the layer mask works, if I change the color of my paintbrush and go back to white, I can remove all of that effect. So now the black and white editing is present everywhere. Now, if I click on the layer mask again, you can see there's some parts that I missed, but it is possible to paint and repaint without any problem multiple times till you get your effect just right. So how do you do that to make it look nice and neat like this one? What you do is you have to zoom in, I think, to the micro layer, because we're gonna work on her sari only. I get my paintbrush, which is right now size quite large. I'm going to use the bracket key and make it smaller. I have to make sure I've got black color here. See, it's white currently on the top. If you hit this arrow right there in your toolbar, it will switch the two colors back and forth. Another way to do that is just to press the letter X, and that changes them back and forth. So if I paint black, then I'm going to get this effect hidden everywhere my black is painting. Now I'm going to make an outline of her sari. If by accident you go out and you make an error, you just press X and you can paint that back over with white and hide where the mistake is. I always recommend going very close in just to make sure you're getting the details just right. I tend to move slowly, try to get the edges first, and then I paint the interior. One thing I like to do is not use such a hard edge when I move the slider on this paintbrush adjustment toolbar, it goes more towards a fuzzy edge than a hard edge. So I'm going to continue to paint and work on down until I get the outline of this sari painted out. Now, before I prepared this, I made the edit just as it's supposed to be, and rather than showing me paint this whole thing out, which took a while, I'm just going to show you how to get to the final result faster. I'll switch to full view. You can still see a little bit of red there, and here's what I came up with. So I painted all the way around her entire sari. Now, you don't always have this option of painting around something, but in this case I did. And so what I decided to do was paint all around. Then I'm going to use my magic wand tool, and I'm going to click out here in the white, and I have selected everything that's white. Not the interior though, the interior's not selected because I have the contiguous check marked here in the toolbar. So I'm going to invert that selection. Now the entire interior of this outline is marked off. When I take my paintbrush and make it large, I should be able to paint in the entire thing very quickly. Again, it doesn't always work that easily, but in this case it did, and I thought I'd show it as a possible shortcut, because often what we're trying to paint in might have kind of a block form that lets us go around the edge and paint that in later. So that is your typical selective color. When you choose a picture for this, you want to choose something with a significant element like this red sari. You tend to not choose something that's big and obvious, because in the picture, when it's full color, it's already big and obvious. You often will choose something a little smaller or something that you want to draw attention to. Now I'll show you another example. Here is a picture. This is in Vietnam, and in this particular image, I went in and I took the plastic chair that the man was sitting on, and I turned that back into its original color. I wanted to draw attention to that chair, but I might have it in mind to go in and paint out all of these chairs, and then that way make a point that when you're in Vietnam, these kinds of chairs are ubiquitous, the tiny little chairs that people sit in when they're on the street. So once I have maybe 5 or 6 or 7 of these chairs painted in, then they'll have a visual impact, because those will be standing out, and it might draw more attention to them than they ordinarily would have had, because chair is not typically something that's going to be the main feature of a photograph. So there you have it. Selective color, very easy to master. Just make sure you choose your picture wisely. All you need is a black and white adjustment layer and some patient work with the paintbrush. Next time you have something in your photographic portfolio, see if this effect might make it look better.